Yes, everybody, it's that time of the week again, bitch. Welcome back to another sultry episode of Old School, New School Comedy Podcast, and I am your host, Christy Miller. And with me this week is probably one of my first friends that when I moved here. When I moved here in 2005, opening for Paul Mooney at Caroline's, I really didn't know anybody, and I don't remember how I met this man, but I'm just grateful I did. He used to do a show back then at a bar called Therapy, and it was, oh God, now I just totally forgot. Something Shock Tuesdays.
The Electroshock Therapy Comedy Hour.
That's what it was.
Which I did not name.
Well, you know.
I inherited the show.
Yeah, you're better than that.
Yeah,
we know.
Yeah.
But it was one of my first, because I dominated the gay clubs in the gay rooms and stuff in Los Angeles, and it was like my first taste of New York City gay clubs and comedy, and I was really excited to meet him, and we became good friends, and I got to play his room regularly when I was with Mooney, and now you can actually see him on tour with his one-man show called Bad Dates. It's hilarious. It's getting written up in all the trades. Amazing. And I want to see this show on Broadway. That's my goal for you.
Thank you.
And he also, you could have seen him on Last Comic Standing. And
many years ago.
Many years ago, before there was electricity. But someone I love very much, super funny, very talented, and I would like to introduce everybody to Adam Sank.
Here I am.
Here you are.
Christy, thank you so much for having me into your sex dungeon.
Right, hello.
I won't even tell the listeners and the viewers what's happening behind the camera. But yeah, no, you used to headline.
That's on the OnlyFans.
Thank you. You used to, where's the rim shot? Thank you. You used to headline my room at Therapy, and you always destroyed.
Yes, it was fun. I found an old DVD from when I taped a half-hour special there.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I don't even remember doing it. And then when I watched it, I would go, oh, I remember doing it now.
I feel like the gay crowd really responded to you because you were like a cisgender female drag queen.
Big time.
Which now is a fairly common thing, but at the time that was like not a thing. It was
unheard of, but I was totally like that cisgender drag queen that all the gays love.
You had the drag aesthetic.
Yeah. In
that you looked like a drag queen. And also, you had the drag queen humor, which was just filthy and
roasting,
politically incorrect,
yes,
and they loved you, and I loved you.
Well, I loved you.
Sadly, Therapy no longer exists.
No.
It is now a bar called, is it called Hush? I believe so.
I think that is Hush.
And they improved the showroom. The showroom, if you remember, used to just be like half of the upstairs.
Yeah.
The other, and then there was a big open sort of balcony, and then there was the bar. Now it's one big showroom.
Oh my God.
But it's all drag shows. That's all they do now at the gay bars.
That's all they do now, because RuPaul has killed gay comedy.
Right.
I miss having a gay room, and I want another one. So I've been putting it out there to everybody. I want to do my fag hag show.
You should. Start it.
My fag hag and a drag. Like have a drag queen on, either hosting it or being a head. I don't care. As long as they're funny, and they're always hilarious anyway.
My thing is, if you can't find the show that you want to perform in, then create that show.
Yes. So I've just been I've been putting it out to venues in the neighborhood about where I can do this. And some of them are like, yeah, we don't do comedy, we only do drag. And I'm like, listen, bitch.
Yeah, you should say my comedy is drag.
Yeah. I'm a big drag queen trapped in a straight woman's body.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and that bitch is trying to get out. She's like, get me out of here. I hate this
Popping
bitch.
Out.
Anyway, so I want to talk about how great your one-man show is, Bad Dates.
Oh,
and I want you to tell everybody about it and how you came about doing it.
So this came about in a very strange way. I had quit stand-up. I had basically retired. In 2019, I did my last show. I had my last album. And everyone thought it was like a publicity stunt. I truly just was burnt out on it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do stand-up anymore.
Totally understandable.
You know, like, and not just for the obvious reasons like, shitty clubs and shitty bookers and bad pay and all that. That stuff comes with the territory.
Yeah.
But I literally, had lost my joy in doing it.
And that's a good way to say, I gotta cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, the only reason anyone does stand-up, no one gets into stand-up for the money or to be famous or to have an easy life. If they do, then they're
on TikTok.
Fucked up. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. The whole influencer culture. Like, I'm too old for that. I missed that by about 20 years.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't fun for me anymore. I would do shows, and the thing I looked forward to most was being done. And when that started happening, I was like, maybe I should stop. And I basically completely stopped, except I would do 1 or 2 corporate gigs a year.
Sure.
For the money.
That makes, and that's, and you would, and those are actually kind of fun, you know?
I hate them. They're not really stand-up. They're hosting. You get up, you warm the crowd up for whatever boring night they have ahead of them. Yep. It's usually some sort of awards dinner or an auction. And a lot of them are for very worthy causes. They're raising, you know, I do a gig every year, almost every year in New Jersey for the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, which is a huge fundraiser that generates, you know, so much money for the food bank, which feeds all of these food insecure families in New Jersey. I mean, it's amazing. And they're so good to me, but I hate the gig. I hate any corporate gig because it's always like, be clean, you know, nothing political, nothing edgy, nothing dirty. And it's like, well, how do I make people laugh then? Yeah, I don't know.
Like, to me, I call that beige comedy.
It's beige.
It's beige. It's muted. It goes with the background. Nobody pays attention to it. It's like, oh, it's not offensive. It doesn't really stand out.
So it's more like you're enthusiastic, you're upbeat. You know, I try to come in with some fresh material every year, but it's hard because it's like they've already seen me. So that's all I was doing.
Right.
For like 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. And during that time we had COVID.
Yeah.
So I found the perfect time to have retired because, you know, no one was performing outside.
Sorry, we're all going to die. I quit.
Yeah, exactly. And then last year, 2023, a guy down in Florida named Ronnie Larson reached out to me. Mm-hmm. Ronnie's this amazing guy who, he's a producer, he's a director, he's a composer, he's an actor, and he runs this adorable theater down in Wilton Manors, Florida called The Foundry. It used to be called the Wilton Theater Factory.
Okay.
Wilton Manors, for those listeners or viewers who may not know, it's a little town that borders Fort Lauderdale, and it's 100% gay.
Yes, I need to go there tomorrow.
They would love you. Basically, all the gays got tired of paying for rent in Fort Lauderdale, and they all created their own little community called Wilton Manors.
And that's what gays do. I follow the gays.
That's what we do. Okay. And Ronnie's an integral part of this community. And he runs this theater, and it's constantly, there's always something playing at the Foundry, and a lot of times it's like his original musicals, which are good. Aww. And some of his shows have come off Broadway. He's a super talent, and I had performed there twice in the past, and he reached out to me and he was like, I want to bring you back. And in the past some of the shows had been naked because he's big on like having people perform naked. He's got an entirely gay male fan base.
And we'll be right back. They have, and one female, and one.
Sure.
I love naked men. Okay?
There you go. And he said, you don't have to be naked this time, and I want you to do an hour, and it can be anything you want.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and may I just say, I don't like performing naked. I will do it. It's not my favorite. I feel like it's a weird,
it's awkward
premise.
Yeah.
Because people who are there to laugh are not there to get turned on, and vice versa. Not that anyone's turned on by seeing my very average sized cog. But it's like, why are we being sexual when we're trying to make people laugh? That seems like you're at cross purposes. But it gets gay men to show up.
Yeah, because if there's dick in the room, they will show up.
That's
yes,
exactly
girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what would I do for an hour? Mm-hmm. And it occurred to me that I have a lot of old material that I've been harvesting for years about bad dates, bad hookups, bad relationships. Half my act was basically like, oh, I went on this date with this guy and this fucked up thing happened.
Right.
So I started compiling them all together. And that's all I was going to be. It was just going to be like a
one and done
greatest hits of old jokes I had done about bad dates. And then I started to get that feeling again of like, ugh, I don't want to do this. This isn't fun for me. I've done these jokes a million times. Like, I'm not excited. And then it occurred to me, I have a story that I had never told publicly that very few people in my life know about, involving a brief relationship that I had that ended in tragedy, in like shocking tragedy. And it's not funny, and there's nothing funny about it, but I thought, what if I added this to the show? What if at the end of all of these like funny stories, I told this one horribly unfunny story? And then I was like, well, I can't just make people
close
laugh
on a sad note.
I can just make people laugh for 50 minutes and then be like, and now death.
Yeah.
The end. Like, it's not going to work. So I had to figure out a way to shape it so that it wouldn't be completely bonkers. And so I came up with like a sort of an opening monologue and like a closing monologue that kind of tied everything together. And then I figured out kind of a through line that I could weave all through these stories, and it began to take shape. And I was still like, I don't know that I can do this. I've never done anything like this before. It's not a comedy show. It's a storytelling show. Yep. I've never gotten on stage with the intent of anything other than making people laugh. And now I'm going to make them like
go on an emotional journey
or cry or whatever.
It's going to be an emotional roller coaster through the whole thing.
And I felt like, I don't know that I have the right to even do that. But I decided I would try it before I brought it down to Florida. And so I did it like 6 or 8 times at the Stonewall. And the response that I got from audiences was unlike anything that I'd ever experienced in stand-up. It meant so much more to people than just jokes. And it meant so much more to me. And suddenly, like, I looked forward to doing the show. And I still look forward to every time I do it. I'm really excited. Because it's not just, I'm just here to make you laugh and that's all. Like, I'm here to actually make you experience something.
Yeah, well, comedy, you know, the straight line through comedy is just shallow shit, make people laugh, forget their troubles for an hour and go. Nothing deep, connecting.
Right.
Broadway, one-man shows, theater, storytelling is a little deeper. It's a deeper level of connecting to an audience. You can still make them laugh, but it's not like set up punch. It's like, oh, hi, I'm laughing. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. Oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. Oh my God, I'm alive again. Yay.
Right.
But it's like this weird emotional roller coaster. And when people feel all those emotions, they bond with you in a different way. Totally.
That's it. Also, I think that many young people in stand-up, and I was one of them once upon a time, I think they think that their job is to make people laugh at any expense, period. That's it.
Right.
And that is a big part of it. But the comics that I have always admired the most are the ones who don't just go for the laughs, but they actually go for something that means something. Whether it's political, whether it's personal, whether it's like, you know, like Tig Notaro talking about her cancer, or what's his face, John Mulaney talking about going to rehab. Like, those are the specials that actually make me go like, oh, that's amazing.
Well, it's like Keith Robinson, you know him, right? He had a stroke. He's an old OG. His new special's out. It's hilarious. And it's all about him being fucked up from the stroke.
Yeah.
It's the funniest shit.
That stuff to me is so powerful. Great and powerful. And it makes, like you said, it makes people feel things. It's not just like, oh, I'm here to, and there's nothing wrong with pure comedy. Like, if you can make someone just laugh their ass off for an hour, that's a great talent. But I would rather, especially these days, see someone that like made me like Hannah Gadsby's second Netflix special, Douglas. I know everybody talks about her first one where she talks about getting raped, and that was very brave. But the second one, Douglas, is all about her discovering in her 30s that she's autistic. And the whole special is structured in such a way that the first like 15 or 20 minutes, you're like, this isn't that funny. And by the end, you're crying with laughter. And she goes, I didn't make a good first impression on you tonight because autistic people rarely make a good first impression. And you're like, holy shit. Like, she thought about every minute. Every word in this special was carefully considered. And like, that's the stuff that blows me away.
Yeah, it's fantastic when you can tie it all together and like sew it together, and you close with something that totally ties the entire hour together, and you're like, oh, that's what it was.
Right.
And it's fantastic. It's fun to do. It's hard, but it's
also fucking hard, man.
Yeah, but it's also it's cool when you to me, that's also someone that really knows themselves on stage and really has those layers pulled back and is really not afraid to air those dirty wounds and scar tissue and trauma and happiness and sadness and anger and anything, kind of thing. You know, I don't have that. So.
Yes, you do. I think everyone can do it. I think it's a question of, do you want to?
Yeah, I pretty much I'm kind of like that blunt 5-year-old kid that just says what they say.
Right.
I'm a little retarded, but but I just kind of, I don't sugarcoat. I don't, beat around the bush to like make a point, but I'm like, trying to imply something. I just call a spade a spade.
Well, the most important thing that we do is we're truth tellers, right?
Yeah,
so
and I tell the truth.
There's real value in that. I'm just going to shift because I'm old and creaky.
Don't hit the brick wall because it's gonna,
I'm just trying to find a different
blowing.
position.
It's a drapery.
Hello. I went biking around Central Park yesterday in the heat and humidity that we've been
experiencing. And boy, are my balls tired.
Exactly. This is the most heterosexual position I think I could possibly sit in.
Actually, it's the most feminine Sharon Stone right before she switches and shows the beef.
Before she shows her puss.
Yeah, the puss. Show your bussy, darling.
But so I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I did it in New York. I did it for 2 weeks in Wilton Manors. By the time I left Wilton Manors, it had grown. It became a 90-minute show.
Wow.
Then I went out to Palm Springs and did it out there. And at the end of this year, I'm going to LA and San Diego.
Fantastic.
To do my Bad Dates show.
Where are you doing it in LA and San Diego?
So kind of in the interesting place in LA. And they reached out to me after hearing me on the radio.
You're going to hurt your elbow on this hard brick wall.
No, I'm fine. I'm doing it at an American Legion Hall.
Oh my God.
In Los Angeles.
That's amazing.
The woman who booked me assured me it is not your grandfather's American Legion Hall.
Where is it though?
Apparently they have a great theater and they book all kinds of diverse acts. And, because it's Los Angeles, they have a lot of LGBTQ members and allies. And she thought I would be a perfect fit for this. So we'll see what happens.
But it's so funny because people think, oh, it's gay or it's straight, it can't fit here. No, it's still human emotion.
Correct.
It's still human behavior. And you're talking about relationship issues. Everybody has them, no matter who you sleep with.
Yes.
We all can relate to shitty dates and bad relationships.
100%. And actually, I've had more straight people see the show than gay people.
Sure.
And they relate just as much, although some people disagree. I should have mentioned that in the beginning.
Oh, please, that's my audience.
There's some graphic butt
I'm a piece of shit. Yeah.
Talk that goes on in this show.
It's kind of like my closing bit.
Hell. And then the next night I'm doing it in San Diego at the Diversionary Theater, which is a historic LGBTQ theater.
Nice. Well, that sounds awesome.
That one makes a little more sense.
Yeah, but LA, anything is gay in LA, so don't worry.
That's right.
Come on,
especially the straight guys.
Yeah.
LA. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, honey, they are gay for pay, girl. Oh, honey, they like my favorite joke, Judy Tenuta. I wouldn't say he's gay, but it wouldn't take much of a prison term, like a parking ticket. I love Judy. She was the greatest.
It's the late great Judy Tenuta.
Yeah, so funny. She was one of the greatest. And if people don't know her, they need to look her up because she was so ahead of her fucking time.
Yeah.
Way ahead of her time.
She came out around the same time as Roseanne.
Yes.
And they had kind of a rivalry.
Yes.
And she used to do a bit about a character named Blowzanne, which was clearly based on Roseanne.
Of course.
But Roseanne, was the one who blew up really big and wound up with the sitcom.
Well, because Roseanne was an actual character. Because I always tell people, what is your sitcom?
Right.
To comics. Like, what if you had a sitcom, what would it be? And if you don't really have a defining... I mean, Judy was just hilarious. Like, she was a very great observationist.
Accordion player.
Yeah, an accordion player / observationist. She would see things and make fun of it. Where Roseanne was, I'm a domestic goddess,
Well, Judy had that too, though. Judy was the goddess of love, right?
Yeah, but it's not really a character. She's more like Cupid in a gay love story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She would always start her set by going, hello, pigs!
Yeah. Hello, pigs! Oh, she was the great... Oh, Judy, hi, pig! She was so great. But she was, she was funny, but it's like, okay, Judy Tenuta, what would your sitcom be? Based on your act. Roseanne
she'd almost be like the next door neighbor on a sitcom.
Yeah, or the funny character, or the funny person at work, or the sidekick, something. But yeah, Roseanne was a carved out character that everybody related to.
Yes.
Not anymore, but she's definitely carved herself out of something.
Yeah.
Poor thing. She is definitely, to me, like a reminder, don't get bored.
Well,
I would say fucking happy and go after things that make you smile and feel good.
That 100%. Also, if you become rich and famous, don't only surround yourself with yes men.
Hello.
Like, have someone in your life who tells you the truth.
That's why you need a black queen from Atlanta, a
Thank
black
you.
drag queen from Atlanta in your life when you're rich and famous, because that bitch will read you for filth, darling.
Everyone needs one.
I used to tell people, like, describe you. I go, well, I'm a black drag queen from Atlanta trapped in a white woman in New York's body.
Yeah.
That's me.
Pretty much.
But it's
Exactly.
true. But it's like, you know, everybody needs that in their life, like to tell you the fucking truth. And at a certain level, you just want to hear how great you are. And it's gross.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
why, you know.
Which, by the way, I mean, I always say to people, like, I would be the best rich and famous person. I know I would. I would not become an asshole. Because I've never enjoyed being around people who are just, like, schmeicheling me.
Yeah.
You know?
That's very Jewish.
To use my Yiddish heritage.
Tell me what that one means.
Schmeicheling is like flattering.
Oh, I like that word, schmeichel.
Kissing your ass.
I love Yiddish because it sounds exactly like the thing you're trying to describe.
Very much that.
Like,
I know that word only because Don Rickles used it in a roast of Barbra Streisand back in the 60s. Barbra Streisand was being honored by all of these composers, and you know, she was like 25 at the time, but she was already a legend.
She was a legend at like 3.
Yeah, and Don Rickles was the MC, and he's like, is Barbara's mother here? Where's the mother? Mom, God bless you, Mom. You got a dummy daughter. You got a dummy daughter that made it, and now everyone's schmeicheling her. And so that's where I first learned that word.
That's a great fucking word. Oh, how come I've never seen that? I'm a bad fag hag. Bad fag hag.
There's only audio of it, but it's on her. Actually, I think there is. I think you can probably YouTube it. It's on Barbara's album, Just for the Record, which is one of her greatest hits album. You can tell I am a flaming homosexual.
Gorgeous. Hello.
Do you sing?
Yeah.
You should totally do a show as Barbara.
I don't sing that well. I do Cher
I think
better.
you do. I've heard your Cher, actually.
Yeah, you know my Cher.
fantastic.
My Cher. But see, my Barbara is just like with the hand and the cross eyes. You know what I mean? Hello. Go on, just hello.
That's all, what else do you need?
Yeah.
What else more do you need than that?
Like 18 gays around me is what I need. And a gay son standing on the top of the stairs in her gown singing on a clear day.
Rise and look around you.
Lettuce. Who ordered lettuce? I don't eat lettuce. I eat kale. Hello.
I see this as an entire show. Christy Miller does Barbara and Cher. You could do Barbara for the first half.
I could do Barbara battling Cher.
How about Liza?
She's really hard. Mario Cantone is my favorite tragic Liza
Fantastic.
impression. It's my favorite. You're so great. You know, he's just so crazy.
He does her in that movie, The Aristocrats.
Oh, it's yes.
Movie?
Oh, The Aristocrats is genius.
I used to have the most fantastic act. I used to come out in front of a live band, and the percussionist. I love that word, percussion. The percussionist used to take his triangle, put it in front of my triangle, and clang, clang, clang went the trolley, just like Mama used to. So good. He's the greatest.
Oh, he's one of my all-time favorite human beings in the universe. Like, if I was rich and famous, I would surround myself with, like, you, because you keep it real with me, and you've known me a long time.
Yes.
My gay husband in L.A., Lauren Marinello, who lives in Palm Springs now, and Mario Cantone.
He's the greatest.
Because he will just read me for filth.
You know, I've tried to get him on my podcast back when I was still doing my podcast, and he just he doesn't do that kind of stuff.
No, he doesn't.
He's actually fairly shy.
He's really,
I
and
think,
he's
in
very
real life.
sweet. He's very sweet.
Very sweet and like a serious actor.
Yeah.
Like Broadway, Off Broadway, and just multi-talented. He doesn't, I think people think that he is his character from Sex and the City. That is not him. That is a character.
It's so not him.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first moved here, he did a weekend at Caroline's, and we were the late show, obviously, because Paul Mooney was the late show every week, pretty much, every other week. And Mario was the early show, so I went, because I'm like, hi, it's Mario Cantone, love you, you know. And we met, he goes, and I met him and his husband, because his husband was playing piano.
Who's beautiful and also very talented.
Yeah, and just a beautiful, happy, talented, fuck you in the ass couple. I love them.
You guys are such a nice fuck you in the ass couple. I hope you wrote that on their anniversary card.
Wrote it, I engraved it.
Hit it.
We were hanging out. You know, of course, we bonded because if it's gay, I love it already. You know, and I'm Mama to everybody. That was my nickname in high school with the gays, Mama. So we bonded, and then one of the nights we were there, I think it was a Sunday, like the last night of the weekend, Sunday night, and he had the tables in the lounge in Caroline's there by the bar. Yes. That long part they would rope off for the VIPs in case they wanted to get there early and have dinner and entertain the friends or whatever. So it was me, Mario, his husband, my friend Craig at the time, gay, and then a whole bunch of other people sitting at the table. And Mario was like, "You look like my sister. You should play my sister in the movie." And I was like, "Well, sign a bitch up right now. Hello." Amazing. And he never followed through, but it's all right. It was nice to be mentioned.
Yeah, but I could see that.
Yeah, like him and I would love to do
Christy Cantone.
Yeah, hello. Can't one. That's what it is. Can't have this one, sweetie. He's gay.
Can't one.
But I would love to do a buddy cop movie with him, me and him.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious because he's so fucking funny doing Liza and I'm doing Cher. We're doing Barbra in the car or chasing people. I think we'd be a funny buddy cop film with us too.
I would be first in line to see that.
Yes, you'd have to be. I'll drag you with me. Get on the red carpet, girl. Come with. But yeah. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the Cher and Barbra. Oh, baby.
My Cher just sounds like a gay horse. Oh.
Your Cher sounds like Jack doing Cher to Cher.
Yeah, exactly. Jack McFarlane's
every gay
version of Cher.
Town.
My favorite Cher moment of all time
really?
Was when she did Sonny Bono's eulogy.
Oh, and then in Reader's Digest, it said the most incredibly interesting man you ever met, and for me, that was Sonny Bono.
Son. She keeps calling him son, also the eulogy.
Sonny, yesterday.
It's one of her greatest performances. If you Google or YouTube, Cher Sonny Bono eulogy. For those of you who are too young to know this, she was married to him when they were Sonny and Cher.
Yes.
And by this time, they were long divorced. He had a new wife, new kids, but somehow she still did the eulogy because she was Cher.
Yeah, because she was famous. She was Cher, and they still had ties. She was still friends with him.
Of course, and she was
even though he was in Congress and had a restaurant
and had become a Republican.
Yeah.
But she was great to him. She was very grateful to him, and she told this story at the eulogy. She's like, people thought Son was the butt of every joke on the show. But what they don't understand is that he created those jokes. Oh, yeah. Because he created Sonny and Cher. It was so good.
It should be her monologue on her acting reel.
100. I mean, she's got an Oscar. I don't think she needs a.
Oh, I need that. Oh, she needs that one.
On your acting.
I should totally do the eulogy as Cher.
Again, another one-woman show. Christy Miller does the Sonny Bono eulogy.
It's a 5-minute show,
but with songs.
Yeah. Well, the show I wrote 20 years ago, it was the Cherwell Tour, was what it was called. And when I moved to New York, I wanted to do it at Don't Tell Mama. And I wanted to find a piano player that could play any song, anytime, anywhere. Someone that just knows every song. And I wanted to go up at Cher, kind of like Cher meets Bill Murray in the SNL skit, The Lounge Act.
Oh, right.
In the ski lodge.
Yeah.
Now they make you beautiful. Where you're from. Remember that old cheese ball? So it's kind of like a mix of that with the Cherwell Tour. And it's like Cher in her, at this time, this was 20, 25 years ago, that Cher was in her, 80s doing a lounge act. She's still hanging on. She's at some dirty drag bar with a piano player. Woo, it's the Cherwell Tour. And I would have people in the audience write song requests in a jar, in a glass bowl, and write a little piece of paper, fill out what song you want Cher to sing.
You still need to do this.
Yeah, and then I pull it out, and if I don't know the words, I could make fun of them, make up words as I go along, and do that, and do some comedy in the middle. And I wanted one of my big leather daddy friends to play Chastity. Chast, and her back's always to the audience. Just sitting in the front row.
Right.
Chast, sweetie, pick a pronoun, sweetie. What is your pronoun? Fat and dyke? Woo!
You got to do this show.
Yeah, I need to. I still want to. I think it's necessary. I think it's time now. Now that she's got a black boyfriend who's 12 and she's 190.
I don't know if you've ever met or heard of Chuck Sweeney.
I know that name.
He used to do this act, and I don't think he does it anymore, at Don't Tell Mama, where he was Peggy Lee. But he was Peggy Lee in the later years when she was really heavy and wearing the sunglasses.
I am deceased.
With the blonde hair. And like, I didn't even know who Peggy Lee was the first time I saw him do this, but I was still laughing my ass off because he would say things like, "You've been such a special audience. I'm going to remember this night for as long as I can." And then he would sing like, "Fever, fever." Just be snapping. It was the campiest, most hilarious
I would
act.
have peed.
That's what that reminded me of when you were talking
hilarious.
about doing like old Cher.
I want to do old Cher at a piano bar with gays and film it and just make it just something.
The funny thing is, Cher is now 78.
Yeah.
And still looks
and
like
still
Cher.
Gorgeous,
still sounds
and still
like Cher.
sounds. She's flawless.
Her mother still looks the same. These people never age.
Her mom's dead now. You know that.
She is?
Yeah, she died last year.
Oh, I thought she was still kicking.
No.
Georgia.
Georgia,
right?
Yeah, she died last year. She
Rest in peace, Georgia.
"Hey, sweetie," she was dead. It was like Weekend at Bernie's going to Mom's house. "Sweetie, who's propping her up today with a stick?" Whoa!
She looked great. And she looked great until the very end.
Flawless.
Yeah.
You
Good
know?
genes.
Yeah, I think, what was she, only like 15 or 16 years older than her?
Yeah, she was like 16 when she had Cher.
Yeah, so they were very close in age.
Cher's one of those people, I was just talking about this with my friend. There are people who have been famous for my entire life.
Right.
And aren't that much older than me because they got famous at such a young age.
Yeah, Cher
got
16.
famous at 16. So, like, when I used to watch Sonny and Cher in the 70s, you know, I was like, okay, I was like 6, but she was only like 21.
Yeah, she was in her early 20s.
Yeah, she was so fucking young.
Yeah, like when I Got You, Babe came out and Baby Don't Go, that was 68, 69.
Yeah.
You know, so she's
only like 18 or 19 years older than I am. But she's been a megastar my entire life. Another person, I mean, obviously not to the same scale, but like Melissa Gilbert. Like, Melissa Gilbert was Laura on Little House on the Prairie, which I watched from my earliest days, but she's only like 5 years older than me.
I know.
In real life.
I know, I'm 53. So
I'm 53 as well.
Yeah, so Cher's 20, she was
Cheers.
25. Cheers. Yay.
What's your birthday, Christy?
September 15th.
February 23rd, I'm older.
Yes, girl, old queen. Hi.
I'm a Pisces. But yeah, like, that's
my moon's in Pisces.
If you're going to be a famous person, get famous when you're a child. That's the advice that we'll give.
And then become a drag addict like Drew Barrymore. Wash up, come back, get a talk show.
Listen,
go against SAG, and then came
quickly.
around. Yeah, no, she did great. They all did.
Not all.
Okay, what's her name?
The Coreys didn't fare so well.
Oh, girl, one didn't make it, and one, I feel like, shouldn't have made it.
Right,
Those poor babies. What about the Sweeney girl, the little girl from Full House that became a crackhead?
Oh, not Sweeney. Swinton.
Sweeten, yeah.
Jodie Sweetin.
Jodie Sweetin, yeah. She became a crackhead.
That's sad.
It's really sad.
And Susan Olsen, who's like a busted
I used to be friends with Susan Olsen in LA.
What happened there?
Hi, I'm the new Jan Brady. She's really bad. Well, I was friends with Taylor Negron, and we did radio together.
I loved him.
Well, because you didn't know him. No, he was a mess. He was just a big narcissist, you know, typical. And if you were funnier than him, he would cut you out of his life.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. And but I love him. I will always love him. We had so many fun times together. Our friendship, the time that we were friends, oh my God, hilarious. The funnest times. But we'd have like cooks. He'd make dinner and invite everybody over, and Susan Olsen would come over all the time. And I'm like, hi, it's a new Jan Brady. She's super fat.
But that's even fun.
But that's what I mean. You know, but still.
You would do Jan to her Cindy.
Yeah.
And did she like that?
She laughed, and then I stopped doing it because I didn't want her to kill me.
Well, so what ended up happening to her? She went crazy.
She did Susan, I think she wrote a book, and then that's all I remember.
The last I heard, she had become a Trumper and was saying really nasty homophobic things on her little radio show, and then she wound up getting fired and disappearing forever.
It's always that fear base and that whataboutisms and the feeling left behind.
Yeah.
They go crazy and snap, and then all of a sudden they become these crazy.
If we're being honest, she was the least talented Brady.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Even in the show, in the quiz show, bitch, don't stare at the light.
She was terrible.
Baton Rouge, Cindy, Baton Rouge.
She was so bad. Maureen McCormick was always my favorite. Speaking of someone else who struggled for years with addiction.
Yeah, and she did some cheesy B movie, and she played some truck stop waitress or something, and
I think that
really fucked her career.
I think that was Eve Plum. I think Eve Plum.
No. It was Maureen McCormick.
She did?
Yeah, because I remember it. Because I remember the one character was Buddy Owen, and his friends raped her, and she was screaming, and she hated him, and she was a hooker or something like that in the show, and they thought they could, and it was just.
I read her memoir, which was kind of fascinating.
Really?
Yeah, she talked very openly about being a coke addict for years, and she would sit in her. This is the saddest thing I can think of. She would sit in her closet. She had a walk-in closet, and do coke for days and play solitaire.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather never do drugs at all than have that be my drug. Like, how is that even fun?
It's just, you isolate so much. You get so paranoid.
So compulsive.
And it's so, I mean, those kids went through hell. Those back in the 70s, none of those actors got paid. They got screwed. So you got all this fame and no payoff, and the production is getting all the money for it. Sherwood Schwartz and all them pocketed all that cash.
Yes.
And there's no residuals. There's nothing.
Right.
And now you're typecast as these 70s sitcom TV family kids.
Yeah.
How are you going to get taken seriously for any job? You're fucked.
Yeah, it's true. None of them really were ever able to achieve adulthood fame. Although Barry Williams, Greg, who I feel like is the most well-adjusted of all of them, he's done a lot of theater.
See, I think Christopher Knight is the most well-adjusted.
He was.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Also a trumper.
Wow. We lost him because he has a whole furniture line out that's pretty groovy.
I know. He was the hottest Brady, if we're being honest. Christopher Knight grew into a very fuckable young man.
I didn't think any of them were.
He was sexy. Like when he did that dating show with the chick from America's Next Top Model, they were on for a few years. It was called My Fair Brady, and Florence Henderson would show up on it to give them advice. I think her name was Adrienne Curry.
That sounds right.
But I might be making that up.
No, that sounds right.
And
I think you're absolutely right.
And they got married, and then it fell apart immediately. But he was in his early 40s at that time, and he was sexy.
Wow, I'm missing out.
I had it bad for Peter Brady. Not when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, I was in love with Greg.
Yeah, everybody was.
Yeah.
Because he was the real Johnny Bravo.
He was the real Johnny Bravo. But Peter turned out to be the hotter adult.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mentioned Robert Reed in my show, Bad Dates.
Yeah?
When I talk about growing up in the age of AIDS and how the only gay men that I knew were gay were the ones who died of AIDS. Mr. Brady.
Yep.
Very sad.
That's true. My cousin's Brad died.
Your cousin's dad? So my cousin Brad died. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, years ago. 100, in the 90s.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it's a disgust. I remember all that shit as a kid.
How old was he?
29.
That's the part that kills me.
3 weeks before his birthday.
It killed such young men. Who hadn't even had a chance to live their lives.
Let's put her on a. Okay, Miss Brad was a big whore and Catholic school girl.
I'm sure
she fucked everybody, honey.
I'm sure he did, but think about yourself at 29.
I know.
Your life really hasn't begun yet.
He was a talented hairdresser. He worked for Universal Studios, and I remember on his deathbed, I was looking at him. And I said, "Oh, bitch, leave it to you to be 29 forever, you cunt." And he goes, "Bitch, do your roots." Oh, it's disgusting. And we were roasting each other on his deathbed.
That's beautiful.
Roasting, because that's what we do. That's how you cope. But
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it sucks. So it's so many people we knew in California and San Francisco, where I grew up, and then in West Hollywood. It was so scary back then. And I would worry about all my cousins because most of them were gay. And,
Your Italian cousins were gay?
They weren't Italian.
Oh.
No.
Aren't you Italian?
No.
What are you?
I'm Irish, German, and some other bullshit.
No. How'd you get, so dark?
My dad. My dad had black hair and hazel eyes. And my sister has dark hair, and I have the hazel eyes.
I was sure you were at least half Italian. You give
we
off
thought
that
we
vibe.
were. We thought we were. I thought I had Sicilian in me.
Yeah.
I've had a Sicilian in me.
Ah!
And
Same.
Hello.
Two at the same time. Not really.
Oh, please. One slides in, one slides out.
I wish.
Right? Fantasy. But no, but yeah, they were, it is, but just, it was so scary back then, and with all the AIDS epidemic. And I remember when Molly Ringwald did that show about that Allie girl. She was the first straight girl that got AIDS. And
No.
You don't remember? It was
like
a made-for-TV movie. Yeah, it was based on a true
girl.
girl.
No memory of this.
Her name was Allie, and she had fucked this bartender who was really hot, and he gave her AIDS, and then she was with her
boyfriend. He gave her HIV.
Well,
Give her AIDS.
It was Christmas, and he wrapped it with a bow.
AIDS.
But yeah, she caught HIV, she got sick, and then she ended up dying, and they interviewed her right before she died because they did a made-for-TV movie, and Molly Ringwald starred as her.
Did she look like Molly Ringwald?
Kind of. Dead.
After the AIDS, she did.
After the AIDS wears off, baby. Whoa! Hey! AIDS!
What's wrong with us?
Hey, I need some Band-Aids, some financial aids, and some,
all the AIDS I can get at once.
And I'm gonna go and get some Kool-Aids. Woo!
Speaking of Molly Ringwald,
yeah,
I just watched the Andrew McCarthy documentary, Brats.
I heard
about the Brat
this.
Pack, and she was the only one that refused to participate. She and Judd Nelson were the only two. Everyone else who was Brat Pack adjacent or in the Brat Pack participated in the movie. And I was like, what the fuck is Molly Ringwald doing that she's too busy for this? I was kind of offended.
Doesn't she live in France? That's the last I heard.
Maybe, but if so, Andrew McCarthy would have been happy to fly there to interview her. He tried to get her and tried to get Judd Nelson, and the movie was kind of missing them. Yeah,
because they were like, she was the main girl. I mean,
all
Ali
centered
Sheedy
around
was
her.
such a character, but Molly Ringwald was the generic girl that they centered around that was palatable.
Although Molly Ringwald was not in St. Elmo's Fire, and St. Elmo's Fire was the quintessential Brat Pack movie.
Yeah.
And they got everyone from that movie, I think,
was
except Judd Nelson.
But when was Breakfast Club?
Before.
Yes.
It was 16 Candles, then Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink, then St. Elmo's Fire.
Right. I love I love Pretty in Pink.
But Andrew McCarthy comes off as such a sweet person.
Really?
Whose career was really kind of fucked up from this one magazine article where they were labeled the Brat Pack.
Right.
And none of them were ever taken seriously as actors.
No, and again, it's being typecast and trying to survive.
Yes.
It's horrible what Hollywood does to these young actors back then. I mean, now, thank God for social media that people have other outlets to monetize or launch themselves. But back then, we didn't have this shit.
You had to go through the gatekeepers.
You had to go through all the gatekeepers, and they ran the media, they ran everything.
Yep.
And whatever they said.
And by they, we mean the Jews. Just kidding, I'm Jewish.
He's a big Jew.
Look at the nose. I'm allowed to make that joke.
Adam Sank what? The boat? Sweetie!
Oh.
Oh. Now becomes Jack. I want Cher to do Jack doing Cher.
I'm sure she would do that.
She would totally do that.
As part of her one-woman show at Don't Tell Mama.
Don't tell Mama, baby. Okay, I love you.
Wrapping up.
Yeah,
I love you too.
I love that you're here. Come back on anytime.
I will only do this podcast again if I don't have to sit on this stool. My back is like in spasm right now.
Oh, girl.
Not good for me to sit on a hard...
Mama, sit on your tank like this.
If I'm going to sit on a hard stool, he better be named Raoul. Do you know what I'm saying? Doesn't even make sense.
Push in your stool.
Exactly. I knew there was a shit joke in there somewhere.
That's the biggest pickup line in a gay bar. Hey, can I push in your stool? Anyway, so I love wrapping up the show with 2 questions.
With a condom. Oh.
Good night. With a bow, sweetie. Put it on my AIDS package and send it off. Woo!
You're insane.
I know, I'm fucked up. I always wrap up the show with 2 questions because they're fun. And my first question is there a bit a comic has done that made you go, God damn, that was brilliant. I wish I'd written that.
I'm so glad you're asking me this because it just happened and I've been telling everybody that I saw this joke.
Oh, perfect.
So James Adomian, who got very well known for doing the voice of Bernie Sanders and before that George W. Bush, he was an impressionist.
Okay.
I just found out he's openly gay. Had no idea, had never seen his stand-up.
Right.
And he's part of this documentary about LGBTQ comics that is on, I think, Netflix. and they show some of his stand-up, and one of his jokes is, he goes, when I get fucked, I sound like somebody's dad got up in the middle of the night and forgot to turn on any lights. He's like, oh, fuck! Shit! God damn it! Who put that there? Fuck! Ow! And I just thought it was so funny, and also sounds very much like me.
It sounds like me.
Fucked.
Yeah. I'm getting up out of bed in the dark.
Hey!
Hey-oh!
So that's that joke.
Oh, I love that. And
shout out to James Adomian. I don't know him, but I would like to.
We love James.
I love that joke.
That's a great joke. I love it. I love gay men when they. It's just, I love gay men. I love them, and I should, because I look like one. Thank you. Anyways, second question is: we're comics. We like to sit around the green room and bust jokes and try to make each other laugh on stupid shit. And because I opened for Paul Mooney for 100 years, he would close his set with street jokes, but he would Mooney-ize them and destroy the house because he had his Mooney twist to it. So is there a go-to street joke that you like to tell?
Yes, and I will even put my own little gay twist on it at the end.
So you're getting a flavored treat.
So this is one of my clean jokes that I do when I have a corporate show. And I'm very clear about the fact that I didn't write this joke, that I found this joke on the internet when I Googled clean jokes.
Right.
So here's the joke. If you want to know who loves you more, your wife or your dog, lock them both in the trunk of your car for an hour. When you open the trunk, see which one's happy to see you. And then when I tell the joke, I go, I was really offended by this joke, you guys. Because who would ever think of locking their dog in the trunk of their car for an hour?
I'm gay. It's against the rules.
Well, because I don't give a shit about the woman.
Exactly.
That's the joke.
Yes.
Hit it. Thank you. Can the YouTube viewers hear the rim
yes,
shot?
They will.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
they can. Oh yeah,
I'm
it's
so
all
glad.
it's editing magic.
I love a rim shot and a rim job. I need to walk around with a rim.
Rimmer, I hardly know her.
Ah!
Everybody needs a rim shot.
That's my street joke.
I love it, and I love you.
I love you. Thanks for doing this.
Of course. No, thanks for coming over and doing the show. And tell everybody out there in old school, new school land where they can find you on the interwebs. And
all things Adam Sank can be found on adamsank.com. And I'm also on the shitter, the Twitter, the X.
Artist formerly known as Twitter.
That's right. Instagram. I'm on TikTok, but I would never use it. And on all of them, I'm Adam Sank. On TikTok, I'm Adam Sank Official.
Nice. I love
it. So follow me and keep up with me. And
follow him. And don't forget to follow the show, everybody, on Instagram. At Old School New School Comedy Podcast. That's actually at Old School New School Comedy, I should say. And you can follow me everywhere at Christy Miller Comedy. And if you hated me, I've been Roseanne Barr.
Nobody could hate you.
I know, right? And please like the show, leave a comment, subscribe, and share the show. We love you. See you next week.
Bye.